I work with children and young people, so I'm used to shouting above the noise. But I want to talk to you today a little bit about resilience and working with children and young people. And if you told me 2 decades ago that I would be talking to a room full of people talking about children, I would have thought, are you nuts? My background was I was a business graduate, I did a postgrad law, did an MBA, and I was working with some of the big accountancy firms when I fell pregnant with my second son. He was premature, so I decided at that time I had really no alternative but to take a career break. And my career break was to buy a small day nursery with just 35 families with the intention of picking up 4 years later when he'd gone to primary school I would go back into the career that I left. So that was my idea. But once you start working with children and young people, it becomes a passion. I've never had as much career fulfillment as I do have now. But in those 2 decades that I've been doing what I've been doing, we've seen some alarming statistics. But anyway, so maybe it's more interesting what I have to say. So in the last 2 decades I've been doing what I've been doing. Some alarming statistics have occurred. 1 in 10 school-aged children in Northern Ireland are facing mental health illnesses. 35,000 children were treated last year in child and adult mental health services, and the suicide rates amongst our young adolescents are higher than they've ever been, with unfortunately the weekend before last seeing the highest number of young boys commit suicide in one weekend. What has changed? Why are we seeing these statistics? I'm a firm believer. I went to school with an apple in my lunch bag. Children now are going in with apples, but they are Apple phones, they're iPads. In fact, in nursery schools they're being given iPads to go in as a learning tool from day one. Is that good for children under the age of 7? I don't believe so. I've been very lucky to meet Professor Peter Gray from the University of Boston, who's done a lot of research in the decline in play and the link in mental well-being of children, young adolescents and even adults. And when I go into schools now, it saddens me because I actually see there's the, let me just click this off too. When I go into school playgrounds now, and you see that actually lunch times are shortening and shortening and shortening. I mean, you go into playgrounds and you see things that used to hang in the walls of classrooms, such as the alphabet or maps, are now actually being used in the few play spaces that children can actually enjoy free play in between classes. What does play look like outside of school? I sometimes find that families now are building their children's CVs from a very early age, or their UCAS applications from the age of 4, whenever they're putting their children into sports coaching from such a young age. And yes, physical play is very important to children, but at what stage does it become so competitive that children are coached by a coach, refereed by a referee, and shouted at by a bunch of parents on the sideline? That's not good for children and their mental well-being. Nor is it good to have every child turn up to a sports day and just get a certificate for taking part. On the other hand, what does play look like at home? I've been a full-time working parent all of my life with my husband, and at home parents are juggling making dinner, doing homeworks, overseeing these clubs that we feel that children have to join, and there are multiple clubs, and the other children are maybe sitting having time in the play consoles while we're trying to get dinner or a uniform dinner all of the time. So we're not playing in the streets the way we used to 20 years ago. And so we perfected that. We set up wraparound care in primary schools, and that's been working really well. We've opened 16 of those in the past decade and grown our business from 35 families to over 1,000. We've one early childhood centre in Crumlin, and whenever we looked at the risk play that we were allowing our school-age children to have, we looked back at our day nursery and realised that we were actually cocooning these children. We weren't allowing children under 5 to take any risk whatsoever. So I started about doing some research. As a lifelong learner, I love researching about what I do. And UNICEF say that the first 1,000 days of a child's life are the most important. But we're not caring for children's brains the same way as we're caring for their bodies. And this shouldn't concern every single person in the room, especially business leaders, because these children are the thinkers and doers of the next generation. So I went out to a town in North Italy called Reggio Emilia. It's a town that looks after its children. They have 38 nurseries in the municipality of Reggio Emilia, and the children who attend these nurseries are seen as citizens in their own right. So these citizens as young children are going to be the doctors, they're going to be the business people, they're going to be the people that run the factories or working in the shops. So everybody in that city is involved in the raising of the children, and you see children from these nurseries out in the town every single day. So their environment isn't just the nursery schools that they're in or the childcare facilities they're in, their environment is the village in which they live. So we replaced our little two-seater buggies that you see all nurseries going out in. We replaced that and bought these toddler buses. And we take children out into our local community. We go to the parks, we go to the museums, we go everywhere with those little buses. And we've changed our environments, and we're known as the nursery with no toys. We have no toys except for maybe dinosaurs and a few plastic cars. I'll explain a little bit about that. We take children outdoors all of the time, and I mean 10 years ago that picture on the right would have filled me with fear, because with my legal background I'm thinking risk assess, risk assess, risk assess. But suddenly whenever you put in a column of benefit beside your risk assessment, you see that the benefit to the children far outweighs any risk of allowing a child to go in ankle deep into playing in water. We build dens outside. These children are just 2 years of age on the right hand side, and we're teaching them how to climb trees from a very early age by letting them just go on tree stumps. But by the time they start our after schools, we'll be letting them climb trees. We don't have plastic playhouses outside. We bring loose props. And these children, it makes me laugh because we always bring material, and they've realised that if we tie a knot tight enough on the fence, that also works as a hammock. These children are devising this for themselves. Social aspects are really important in our pedagogy. The children on the right-hand photograph, they're coming into our office after they've been out, and they're telling us, we talk every day with these children about their who, their what, their where, their when, their why. We read books to children, but we also create our own books every day, and we revisit what we're doing. We go out and we visit children or the elderly in care homes. That's not something we created in Sleepy Hollow. We've heard it in the news quite a bit. It's good for the children and it's good for the elderly people. But we also love to have our work experience children coming in, our Duke of Edinburgh people coming in, our students who are just happy to come out and kick a ball with children for no reason other than having fun. We like to see our parents coming in to talk to children about their careers and their professions, and allowing us to go back in and see them in their clinics. Because you see, it's not just intergenerational, it's multi-generational. Children have role models right across society, and that's something that we need to be learning more and more of. A social highlight of our day, you won't see children in any of our settings sitting in high chairs, you know, with those suction cups that cannot be moved for love nor money. As soon as a child can get out of the sippy cup, we put them down, we dress the table every day, we put flowers on our table, they sit at low-level chairs, we give them proper crockery cutlery. And these children are sitting down at 1 year of age over here in the right-hand photograph, and that's their early language development. These are the children in 30 years' time who will be sitting in boardrooms being able to negotiate with each other, because that's what they've learned by growing. They're grown up learning. We don't do dolls' houses, we construct that. We project photos onto walls for children to create their own. They're the early architects and they're constructing toys for themselves. In our playgrounds, we don't have any anchored equipment. I mean, the most exciting thing you can do with a slide with children is actually climb up the wrong way. Or you have a row of children waiting to be in a swing. So we bought a boat, and in that boat we go on adventures, we go on cruise ships, we go fishing. But you can see some of the boys over here, it's the best piece of climbing equipment we've got in our playground. We have our own obstacle courses, we can be in the little crates, we can either be in cars, we can be in rowboats. That's everything that the child's imagining. We're just enabling this play. And why have a plastic kitchen outdoors when you can have a real one for kids to play with? And we take children out in all weathers, and so we have puddle suits and we jump in the biggest, dirtiest puddles, and yes, we wash our hands. Children aren't at risk because they're playing in mud. You've guessed that we don't have role play, we don't have superheroes, we don't have princesses. In this particular room we had 3 of our staff getting married within 1 year, so we were doing a lot of role play around weddings. So we had children in proper suits, boys dressed up with hats on them, and we allowed them to play with proper crockery, because again, it's a risk assessment for a child. If they break a cup, what's going to happen? We clean it up. But children risk assess that for themselves, because they know the next time that they'll play more gently and things won't break. Car mats in garages are a bit like our slides. We don't use plastic garages. We put rails. Children themselves then learn to navigate. If they build it higher and they have larger slopes, things go faster or slower. Play-Doh, we don't use the ones that have got coloured lids to tell us what's in there. If we want to make a purple Play-Doh, we're making it with lavender, but what's the point in giving a child a lavender Play-Doh or purple Play-Doh without knowing where it comes from? So we put the lavender out for children, we reflect that in the wall so they know exactly where that's coming from. And the same with the dandelion Play-Doh. Mark making. We don't put pencils into children's hands at the age of 3 and make sure that they can write their name before they go to school. We allow children to make marks in sand. We allow them to have flowers in their hands. We give them different coloured paper. Not everything in life is white and crispy. Sometimes we're painting on corrugated paper so that children know that the paintings don't have to be perfect. Even down to children mark making, they're using light through the wall so that they can draw around a child's silhouette. Every opportunity to mark make, which is very important to children and young people. Early science. One of the things that the very earliest thing that a child would do in nursery school is, will things float or will they sink? Well, we're very lucky because in Crumlin we have a glen near us. And we can get children to make boats and bring them down to the glen and launch them. And if they don't float, well, we go back to nursery, we reconstruct it and bring it back and try and launch it again. We collect things along the way. We use digital microscope. We use digital microscopes, and that makes the children can see things very intricately. We make cut of apples, put them on the shelf for children to see them decaying, take the seeds out of those and plant them in Polly Pockets so children can see the roots as well as the shoots at the same time. Construction and engineering, exactly the same thing. So some of the things I would like to take away from today is whenever we're talking to children and young people and we're wanting them to become resilient adults, look how often you say to your child, be careful. We're saying to children, be careful without actually telling them what to be careful of. If you ask a child, what's going to happen if you're on that wall and you fall off, they will tell you they're going to cut their knee or they're going to hurt themselves. If that child no longer feels confident, they won't walk on that wall. Tidy up time in our nursery was always like, tidy up. We had a horrible song and every child just got the nearest box and they chucked things away so that everything looked pristine. But whenever you went in the next day, of course, the dinosaurs were in with the cars and the dolls were in with something else. And that's not life for children, so we teach children to put things back where they belong because that's a lifelong thing that we have to learn. Conflict resolution doesn't involve us saying to children to ask them to apologise to other children. We don't say to children, say you're sorry without understanding. We bring two children together, we look at the source of the conflict, we use our words, we use dialogue, we come up with a resolution, and we always finish by saying to that child, you've solved your problem. So these are skills that are lacking in our children. They're lacking in people. I know coming into our workforce, a lot of people haven't learned those skills, and it's something that is our responsibility to go back and start teaching children. So what if the saying that I love the most is, give me the child until they are 7 and I will show you the adult. What if this is the type of learning environment that we had in Northern Ireland that they do have in Reggio Emilia? What if we have wonderful legislation about buckling children into car seats? That is very, very important. But whenever we buckle these children into car seats, we automatically give them a tablet into their hand to keep them entertained. What if the same legislation applied to the car seats and giving those children a tablet into their hands at the same time? Children shouldn't have those until they're 7. Give the children the lifelong skills that they need, and then once they're 7, once they understand better, give them the technology to bring that to the next level. So I'll finish by introducing myself. My name is Diane Koplewsky. I'm a director of a childcare organisation. We have 16 out of schools clubs and only 1 early childhood centre. My mission in the next decade is to roll out our early childhood centres in as many business organisations across Northern Ireland as we can. Because in Reggio Emilia, the nurseries are in factories, they're in businesses, they're all around the town. It is our responsibility to think about our children as being the next thinkers and doers of our next generation. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. So thank you.